Good evening and welcome to Palmer Stadium in Middletown. Chris Wallach with Hal Levy for game number 9 of the high school football season. Tonight's game pits the 7-1 Hand Tigers and the 3-4-1 Xavier Falcons. And Hal, the Tigers coming off a poor performance last week, and Xavier off 3 straight losses after beating Notre Dame.
Yeah, this one, Chris, actually shapes up as a situation where for Hand, this is a very, very important game. If the Tigers want to go back to the playoffs for the 5th year in a row, Hand right now leading Class AA, but definitely needs a win here. Xavier, on the other hand, playing more for pride. Falcons need to win their last 2 games to maintain their streak of having at least 500 seasons every year that Xavier has ever played varsity football. So the Falcons are playing for pride. The Tigers are playing for a return to the playoffs.
Don King kicks off for the Falcons. Thompson will field it at his 15. Up over the 20, 25, little room up the middle. Thompson slides forward and is down at about the 36-yard line, where Hand will have their first possession of the evening.
And Chris, we're going to see something a little different from the Tigers tonight, an all-new backfield. Kevin Piggott is out. He is, if I can remember some high school Latin, got a medial collateral ligament tear in his knee. He may or may not be back for the Guilford game. Tony Ricciardi is back, and he is going to play fullback, wear number 36, and Matt Sullivan, number 5, is listed as the tailback, but they're not lining up that way right now.
Single setback, 3 receivers to the right. Thompson sprints out, hits Leckie over the 40 to about the 43-yard line, and I suspect the Tigers may put the ball up in the air 30, 40 times tonight.
As a matter of fact, Larry said it might be closer to 50 or 60. This could set a world record for the longest high school game ever, because Xavier will put the ball up at least 15 to 20 times as well. Cacapardo, J.C. Cacapardo from Guilford, number 1, was the cornerback who made the tackle there.
Pickup of 8 on the play, 2nd and 2 Tigers. Once again, 3 receivers to the left side. Peter Metz, John Wiesbrock, and Bill Leckie. Hitch pass goes out to Leckie and is thrown over his head, incomplete.
That wasn't too far removed from the lateral either, Chris, but Jimmy Flanagan, who does some stats along the sideline, the hand wrestling coach, was over there and grabbed the ball just as it got. And Jim Bransfield, as a matter of fact, the PA system here guy called that a lateral. So that's a kind of a dangerous throw there, because that is a live ball.
So that'll move it back then about 4 yards, bring up a 3rd down and 6 instead of a 3rd and 2 for the Tigers. Once again, single setback. Tim Nye splits out right, 3 receivers left. Once again, Hitch, this time to Sullivan. He's going to throw it. He's got Nye deep, but underthrows him, and it's broken up nicely at the 35-yard line.
Back there to break it up, John Millardo, a sophomore cornerback for Xavier, is 5'6" and 130 pounds. And that's one problem the Falcons have. J.C. Cacapardo, a junior, is 5'7", 128. John Millardo, a sophomore, is 5'6", 130. And that's 2 of the 3 people in the deep secondary for the Falcons, which gives Hand a very decided height size advantage.
So the razzle-dazzle for the Tigers doesn't work. Thompson punts the ball, great hang time, fair catch signal at about the 17-yard line, and Todd Darling will down it there, and the Falcons will get their first possession of the evening inside the 20-yard line.
1st and 10 for Xavier from its 18-yard line.
So Xavier will start at about the 18-yard line. One of their main problems this year has been offensive punch. We'll have to see what they can do this evening. They set up I formation, and the pitch goes left side. A little bit of running room over the 25, up close to the 30-yard line. And I believe that was number 31, Mark Neal, the ball carrier. He brings the ball up to about the 29-yard line. Gain of 11 and a first down for the Falcons on their first possession of the evening. Falcons send a receiver split wide to the right. Tight slot left, I formation. Neal, the ball carrier again. Once again, some running room, and gets the ball up to about the 35-yard line. Pick up a 5 on the play.
Mark Neal came in to his own last week. He got his first start of the season last week, and in very limited duty, he's carried the ball 24 times for 117 yards. Bob Ferriolo, a junior out of Wallingford, had 175 carries for 692 yards for the Falcons, but he is not playing in a starting role.
2nd down 4. Once again, they try the left side. Pickup of a couple. They'll come up a couple of yards shy. Once again, the ball carrier is Neal.
All right, Neal is joined in the backfield by a young man from Madison, Fritz Repick, who is one of the co-captains here for Xavier. Repick this year so far has carried the ball 46 times for 240 yards. He also has 10 catches coming out of the backfield for 43. Mark Neal started the year as a flanker back and has been switched over to the tailback to give the Falcons a little bit more speed in the backfield.
Third down, long one. They show motion. Once again, it's Neal, and he gets up over the 40 to about the 43-yard line, and another Xavier first down. So the Falcons taking it right at the Tigers here in the opening minutes from Palmer Stadium.
Xavier has the ability to move the ball. There's no question about that. The Falcons have done that. What Xavier's problem has been this year is a tendency to self-destruct, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as time goes along.
Once again, I formation. Pitch goes right to Neal, and Neal slips a couple tackles, hit hard at about the 47.
Was the ball carrier.
Timmy Nye over on the tackle along with Simmons, and also getting up from the pack, Dave Green, number 60. We're seeing some different people on defense for the Tigers. Vibert was just in on that play, replacing Pegnataro at defensive end. Chris Bryce is also in this evening at linebacker position.
Second and 7 from the 46.
Bob Duncanson now in, replacing, I believe, Thompson. Ball carry this time up over the 50. It's Fritz Repick inside Tiger territory to about the 49-yard line.
And, you know, talking about Xavier's situation, for example, Xavier's playing to London. Xavier lost 7-0 in that game. Falcons tied the ball game, but they got a call back because of a penalty. Later on in the season, they're playing St. Bernard. They're even going into halftime. They have the ball in the St. Bernard 20, and they go 3 15-yard penalties in a row. That's the kind of problems that Xavier has had this year.
On a third down and 2, Repick out of the power I formation carries it over the left side for another Xavier first down, and how they're really working on the right side of the hand defensive line.
Oh, thus far, Falcons are doing exactly what they want to do, which is to just keep moving the ball forward each time. This is, you know, this has got to be a situation where Hand's pretty much got to start to stop this before Xavier gets down into Don King's field goal range, if nothing else.
Power right for the Falcons. Repick, the ball carrier, and he's taken down by Duncanson after a short pickup. Dave Thompson also in there to help out on the tackle.
That time Timmy Nye got a hand on him when he came around when he started around the right side. Nye spun him inside, slowed him up enough so that the secondary could get over there and make the stop for a 1-yard gain. That's the kind of thing that Hand has to do. The Tigers have to set up that second and long, third and long situation, maybe force Xavier to throw, which Xavier does fairly well.
It's a second down 9 for the Falcons. I formation. Coming left side, that's Neal. He'll cross the 40 and get up to about the 43. Taken down by Chris Bryce, and David Thompson also in on the tackle for the Tigers.
Gain of about 6 on that play. We got third and a long 3. This is one of those situations that's iffy. Maybe pass, maybe run here. You may see Franco put it up.
At the 37.
Third down and just about 4. Franco sprints right, has a man, drops the ball, and that's number 15, the flanker, Todd Darling. Ball went in and out of his hand. He did have enough for the first down if he could have held on. So it'll bring up a 4th down situation, and an interesting call here for the Falcons.
King is the punter, and I haven't seen him come out yet. So no, they're sending Cacapardo in, and he's the guy who brings in the plays from Tony Jascott. So apparently the Falcons are going to go for it. Thus far this year, Franco's 79 for 146 for 743 yards. So he can definitely throw the football. There's no question about that. I think we may see him do it again right here.
4th down 4. Todd Darling in motion right. Franco sprints out, being pursued, just throws it up, sort of a Hail Mary. And it's almost intercepted by Wynoski, and the ball falls incomplete at about the 32-yard line.
Timmy Nye put great pressure on number 9, put great pressure on Franco that time, and he basically forced Franco to throw while he was going backwards, and he just kind of threw a pop fly up there and hoped somebody from his team would catch it.
No scoring thus far, 6:42 to go. First quarter action from Palmer Stadium in Middletown. Chris Wallach with Hal Levy. And Hal, nice to have you back. Although I'd like to thank Paul Nichols once again for helping us out at the Hand-Foreign game last Saturday.
Oh, Nick, I guess I understand, did a heck of a job. I went down to watch Darien and Wilton play last Saturday.
Thompson sprints left, looked like he was going to run, but it's intercepted by Cacapardo. Cacapardo carrying it like a loaf of bread, but able to hold on, gets down inside the 45 to about the 42-yard line, and a big defensive play for the Falcons here halfway through the first quarter.
Cacapardo made a nice play on that because he basically took the ball right away from John Wiesbrock, who was making the cut, number 22 there, and Cacapardo stepped in front and just snared the ball right out of Wiesbrock's hands.
Pass up the middle for the Tigers was a big problem last week against Foreign. Basically, that is where Thompson was going when he threw 3 interceptions in the first half against the Lions last week. I formation, power right, Repic, and he's hit hard after a gain of 1 to bring up a 2nd and 9 for the Falcons.
And that time, Dennis Simmons, number 30, the linebacker, came in to make the stop. Held Repic to a 1-yard gain.
Gain of 1.
Neither Neal nor Repic extremely big. Repic at 171, Neal at 162.
Repic is a very, very strong athlete, though. He's a very good football player.
Slot right, first man through, that's Repic. Gets inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line.
He gained about 5 on the quick hitter there. Call it 4, actually. Brings up a 3rd and 5
yards on the play,
which is probably another passing down.
At the 38.
Xavier runs that same pass offense that the Falcons have run for 15, 18 years. And you're probably going to see Darling kind of cut out to the right-hand side. No.
Well, no, this time it's Neal. Big hole right side, up for the first down. I was just about to say that the way they've been running the ball, Hal, I was thinking 2-down territory. They would probably try to run the ball twice for first down, and they didn't need the 2 downs with Neal getting the first down over the right side. Well, earlier they were working left side. Now they're starting to work the right side, and the Tigers really have not been able to stop the run here in the first quarter.
No, it's been a little bit of a problem. Han's got to make a couple of big plays just to have a chance to get the football back.
1st and 10, ball at about the 31-yard line. Mix up in the backfield, I believe, and Franco lunges forward, maybe picks up 1 to about the 30-yard line.
Tony Franco turned what could have been big problems into a gain of 1 on that. He looked like he was trying to hand the ball off to Neal, and he looked like he bounced the ball off his hip almost and decided to tuck it up and try to go. Franco is not what you would call a big threat to run the ball at all.
2nd down 9, first time we see wide receiver split both ways. This time it's Neal, and he's hit hard at the line of scrimmage. May have even lost close to a yard on the play. Getting off the bottom of the pile, Chris Bryce and Dave Green.
Dave Green made a play, but the other part of that play there, Dennis Simmons was blitzing, and he happened to blitz right into the hole. And that kind of plugged it up very, very quickly. That's 8 carries already for Neal, and he has 41 yards, very unofficially. I'm trying to sort of keep stats here. I'm not sure how successful I'm going to be. I am not Paul Nichols at this.
Shotgun first time we see it from Franco. He's back to about his 43, looks over the middle, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Todd Darling, the flanker, coming over the middle at about the 20-yard line.
And he had all kinds of time to throw on that. They set that shotgun up very deep. As a matter of fact, I almost thought he was going back to punt for a second. He was back about 8 or 9 yards at least. And generally, you don't set the shotgun up more than 5 to 6 yards deep.
Falcons been moving the ball well here in the first quarter. 3:33 to go, although they've been stalling now inside the 30. Here it's a 4th down situation, 9 yards to go. Once again, they show a deep shotgun, as Hal mentioned, looking deep for the corner. Wide open is Cacapardo. Slips one tackler, that's Sullivan, and goes in for the touchdown.
I'm not sure how Cacapardo got loose. I was busy watching Rick Murray, who had gotten tangled up with an official about 6 or 8 yards downfield. And he was trying to extricate himself there, and there was another official deep, and I don't know if Cacapardo used him as a pick or what, but he was wide open. Either that or else somebody missed coverage kind of badly.
So Franco to Cacapardo with 3:25 to go in the first quarter has the Falcons on the board first. They lead it 6-0. In to do the kicking will be Don King, who also is a safety on defense. Soccer-style kicker puts it through the uprights. So with 3:25 to go here in the first quarter from Palmer Stadium in Middletown, it's the Xavier Falcons 7 and the Han Tigers nothing. Don King will do the kicking for the Falcons. Deep for the Tigers, David Thompson and Bill Leckie replacing the injured Kevin Piggott. King's boot is a beauty, as the Tigers were not respecting the leg of King, and Thompson watches it bound out of the end zone for a touchback. And that'll bring the ball out to the 20 as a little extracurricular activity going on at about the 20.
Well, I think that kind of started a little bit before the ball game when the hand players came out and they ran through the paper tiger that the cheerleaders had put up. They continued right on down the field and ran through the paper thing that the Xavier cheerleaders had set up for the Falcons to run through. So this has been going on since before the ball game started.
First time tonight we see I formation, two running backs in the backfield. It's Ricciardi and Sullivan. Sullivan carry straight up the middle. Short pickup, maybe two. Second down 8 coming up for the Tigers.
That is the first time that the Tigers have run the ball all night.
Sullivan carries the ball.
Unless you count the lateral play, which you do statistically, but it wasn't really a run.
From the 22.
Mike Ciotti leads him to the line. Wiesbrock and Leckie come to the right. Nye is split out to the left. Thompson sprints right. Looks for Leckie across the middle and underthrows him at the 35 as Leckie was wide open on the hook pattern at the 35.
And he had the first down without too much problem. In that time, Ian more or less went back to the pass offense that was using earlier in the season, playing it out of the eye, keeping Tony Ricciardi in the backfield to block, which is something that the Tigers have had a little bit of problems with out of the fullback position, and that's part of the reason that Tony Ricciardi is back there. He is an outstanding blocker, of course.
Peter Metz now into the ball game at tailback. Straight drop back for Thompson, spirals it out nicely to Nye, taken out of bounds at about the 33, 34 yard line. Enough for a Tiger first down.
Nye for a hand first down.
That's Sullivan and Peter Metz now shuttling the plays in from the sidelines from Coach Ciotti. 2:34 to go here in the first quarter. Falcons 7, Tigers nothing.
First and 10 from the 34.
Thompson sprints left, being pressured. Gets far to the outside, heaves it down. Pass is complete to Nye, but he is ruled out of bounds. Out of bounds at the 47-yard line. So it'll stand as an incomplete pass.
I'm not real sure I agree with that call because he caught the ball and he was driven out of bounds on the play. The official a lot closer to it, of course, than we are. The official may be saying that he was stepping on the line when he caught the ball, or before he caught the ball. When he went up, he may have touched the line, in which case it's an incompletion. But if he's driven out of bounds, he's all right.
It's a small team defensively for the Falcons now.
Right, but they hit. They swarm tackle, they gang tackle. It's almost like a mosquito. A swarm of mosquitoes that comes at you, but they get the job done.
Thompson looking for the dump over the middle, has Nye, gets away from a couple tacklers, uses his speed, and finally driven down over midfield by number 45, Don King, and a Tiger first down.
Don King is the kicker and does a variety of other things. That's Hand's longest gain of the night, 18 yards on that play. Thompson right now 3 for 7 for 36 yards. Very unofficially. I'm sort of trying to mess around with stats here. We'll check with Paul Nichols after he gets some good ones. But
saw some good speed from Nye, getting away from a couple tacklers. Leckie on the fly. He's got his man beat by at least 6 yards. Thompson overthrows him at the 5-yard line. Leckie
yard overthrown on that.
Had his man well beaten, and Thompson overthrew him down at about the 5 as the Tigers went for the big play.
And they were just about back in the ball game there. The encouraging thing to see on that play were the blocks that Matt Sullivan and Tony Ricciardi threw in the backfield, because Xavier had a little game on, and they got a couple of people in there, and Ricciardi and Sullivan both stood people right up and knocked them off, which is exactly what you have to be able to do to give the quarterback time to throw the ball. So from that standpoint, what Larry Ciotti wanted to accomplish with Tony Ricciardi as the fullback has certainly been done so far.
So there's a timeout on the field taken by the Falcons. 1:41 to go in the first quarter, and they lead it. That's the Xavier Falcons lead it 7-0. Second down 10 for the Tigers. High formation. Thompson sprinting right. Sullivan out of the backfield, wide open. Inside the 35, inside the 30. Straight arms. King still on his feet. Inside the 25 and finally taken down at the 24-yard line.
Thompson's pass is complete.
And that's a play that might, to a certain degree, have been opened up by the fact of the long pass the play before, when both backs stayed in the block, and Leckie that time cleared a couple of people out. There was, you know, between where the secondary was playing and where the linebackers were rushing, there was a nice little 20-yard hole that Matt Sullivan took very, very good advantage of.
First and 10 Tigers from the 24-yard line. Ricciardi and Sullivan in the backfield. Thompson sprints out left, tucks it away. Sometimes you'll throw from this position. He does. Looking deep. Looked like some bumping down around the goal line. Intended for Leckie. Incomplete.
Now that pass was perfectly thrown as far as that went, because the Xavier defender, number 12, Joe Burns, who's back in the secondary right now, didn't see the ball at all. Leckie was the only one who had a chance to catch it. It was just a little too far for him to get to. Thompson maybe half a step off so far with some of the balls he's thrown tonight. But he'll get plenty of opportunities. He's already thrown 10.
Peter Metz in the ball game, man-to-man on Leckie on the left side. Thompson, though, hits Nye coming across the middle. He's hit early, it appears, by King. No flags are down, and Nye gets it up close to another Tiger first down. It looks to be a Tiger first down.
I think it probably is. The official's starting to move the chains along the sideline.
It is a hand,
so we're going to call that an 11-yard gain.
Did you see contact there, Hal, before the ball was caught?
Yeah, I did. I was sort of wondering if anybody was going to throw it, because it did look early.
Had Nye not caught the ball, maybe we would have seen the flag.
Yeah, but you're supposed to throw the flag anyway. I'd look for Nye again here on the post pattern.
Thompson sprints right, dumps it off to Sullivan out of the backfield. Nice catch by Sullivan. Thompson did not throw it well, and Sullivan gets the ball up to about the 7-8 yard line.
Looks like it's the 8 because it's right on the soccer line. I think we finally have that figured out now, Chris. That makes it the 8 for a 5-yard gain.
Second and 5 at the 8.
Second down, long 5 for the Tigers. Clock winding down here in the first quarter. 15 seconds. Duncanson split right. Wiesbrock flank left. Sullivan runs left. Bangs right into his flanker, John Wiesbrock, and taken down for a loss on the play, back to about the 11-yard line.
That was, I'm not sure if that was Wiesbrock that he ran into there. That might have been a lineman pulling in there, and I'm trying to figure out who it was.
Loss of 4 yards on the play. Third and
might have been Jim McGoey, number 73.
That's the end of the first period. Xavier leads 7-0.
Well, that'll do it here in the first quarter as they switch ends. The Falcons leading the Tigers 7-0.
Not too much question about what we're going to do here, Chris, obviously, at this point in the ballgame, seeing as how the Tigers ran the ball twice in the first quarter.
Third down 9 for the Tigers. Thompson on a quarterback draw gets the ball inside the 10, down maybe to the 8-yard line, the soccer line on the other end of the field.
I guess there was a question about what we were going to do. You sort of had to assume pass. Now with a 4th down here, you wonder exactly what the Tigers are going to do. It does not appear that we're looking at field goal, so I guess Hand's going to go for it.
4th down and 5. And the Tigers strong right. You may say Thompson roll. He will roll right. Being pursued. Will have to heave it up in the end zone. Touchdown! A beautiful catch by Nye.
Great diving catch by Timmy Nye. He had Don King on him and Joe Burns both. But Nye, of course, is 6'5", and Burns and King are only about 5'8", 5'9" each. And Timmy Nye was able to use every inch of that to dive flat out to catch that ball.
So Tim Nye in the opening minute of the second quarter has got the Tigers to within 1 at 7-6 Falcons, as Dennis Simmons will be on to attempt the point after. Ciotti does the snapping. Matt Sullivan is the holder.
Simmons will kick.
Simmons' kick is good.
The point is good.
So the Tigers, 43 seconds into the second quarter, have tied this one up. It's now 7-7. Thompson set to kick, dropping deep for the Falcons is Mark Neal as the rain starts to come down here. Early second quarter action. Chris Wallach with Hal Levy from Palmer Field in Middletown. Thompson kicks it extremely high, and it bounces through the legs of Neal. He goes back to his own 9, picks it up. Leckie misses a tackle. Sullivan finally takes him down at the 15-yard line in a dangerous, almost dangerous play for the Falcons.
Yeah, that one kind of took the sort of hop that coaches always hope squib kicks are going to take when they're kicking them. It didn't come up at all for him, right through his legs. And then he got pinned down in the corner there. Leckie got a hand on his ankle, and Neal started to dive forward, and about 3 other people came down and make the play just to take care of it. But this puts Xavier in not particularly good field position at its own 15.
Repick and Neal in the I formation, and the give is to Repick. Ball pops loose, and it's recovered at the 26-yard line by Dave Green. Didn't see who put the hit on Repick.
I'm not sure who did either. To a certain degree, I think that the ball maybe just kind of squirted as much as anything else. I'm not sure who put the hit on to
carried the ball.
Paul Nichols says that Matt Sullivan and Duncanson had both had part of the hit there. The ball just kind of squirted straight up in the air, and Dave Green did exactly what you want your nose guard to do on that play, which is not try to be a hero, just grab the ball and fall down it.
Big break for the Tigers. Off to see if they capitalize. Thompson shows shotgun on first down. Pumps to Leckie. Now he's got Wiesbrock open in the end zone, but he decides to run, crosses the 20, and down inside the 15. Takes about 4 Falcons to take him down, but not before Thompson gets down to about the 13-yard line.
And he was out at around the 27. We're going to give him a 14-yard gain on that play, which is certainly Hand's longest play of the game. I was watching the near side, and Timmy Nye was getting played bump and run pretty well, and I believe that the play was probably designed for him because he was isolated out here one-on-one, and he just could not get loose while Thompson looked that way, didn't see him, and then just took off the other way, starting to run.
Thompson picked up about 13 in the last play. Here we go. Bootleg left side, I believe, is what was set up, as no receivers were that way, and Thompson will get dropped for a loss on the play.
That time, I'm not sure exactly what was planned, but he got pretty good pursuit, and as a result, he really wasn't able to stop and set up and throw back across the field if he did indeed want to do that.
As we mentioned, the rain coming down, and possible Thompson just slipped on the play and then was forced to carry the ball. He had no receivers to the left side. May have been a designed bootleg, although we don't see that often from the Tigers. First time tonight they show a pro set backfield. Sullivan and Ricciardi, and the pitch goes to Sullivan over the 15, and a nice hit by Fritz Repick at about the original line of scrimmage, which is the 13-yard line.
Flag down, Chris, and I believe it's going to be illegal procedure on Hand.
And I believe that may be the first flag of the evening.
Yes, it is. And yes, it is procedure.
The indication is illegal procedure against
Slightly
Hand.
unfamiliar formation for the Tigers, and they didn't quite run it the way they were supposed to. Officials noticed something, and we're right there to make the call. Bob Fields, the referee.
Illegal procedure penalty against Hand is declined.
Xavier smartly declining the penalty on that play. Sets up a 3rd and 9 play.
Well, it's Hal, you say 9, the scoreboard says 11. It looks to be about the original line of scrimmage.
Probably it's 10. We'll split the difference.
Yeah, so we'll call it 10 here for the Tigers. Thompson sprints left, looking for Leckie. Leckie comes back, but the ball just skips off the grass right at the goal line and falls incomplete.
Even if he caught that, he wouldn't have caught it because the ball had taken a little skip at that point. The official was right there to see it. We also had Sullivan coming underneath the coverage on that play, and he might have been able to gain a few yards as well.
All important 4th down coming up for the Tigers, and they're going to talk about it here. So with 8:43 to go in the first half, it's the Tigers 7 and the Falcons 7. 4th down, 10 for the Tigers. They're going to go for a field goal attempt. Thompson will boot it from the 20, and his kick is high enough, long enough, and it's good. So the Tigers have broke the 7-7 tie in a 30-yard David Thompson field goal. 8:38 to go in the first half. It's the Tigers 10 and the Falcons 7.
That's the first field goal, I believe, that the Tigers have tried all year, and Dave Thompson had no problems putting it through. He and King, before the game, it was amazing to watch the two of them practicing at opposite ends of the field. Each one of them was banging them through from further and further out, as King has a great leg also.
Thompson kicks it here. It's extremely short. Comes down at about the 25. Over the 30-35, and that's King. And he takes it up to about the 38-yard line. And Hal, I was thinking about when Thompson kicked that field goal that probably from 30 and out, we'd probably see Thompson, and maybe inside 30, we might have seen Simmons on the field goal attempt.
I think that anything too much longer than an extra point, you're probably going to go with David Thompson, who is a big league kicker. If he, has the opportunity to concentrate on it, you just ask him to do so many things that to ask him to spend the time to practice that as well is kind of difficult.
First and 10, just about the 38-yard line. Motion to the right, the play goes left. That's Neal. He's stuffed right at the line of scrimmage.
That's exactly the kind of defense that the Tigers have to get. They got swarming tackling that time, 3 or 4 people in on the play. And that's exactly what Han has to do in order to force the problems. Chris Bryce in there on the play along with Bobby Hughes on that right side.
We'll give Neal about a half a yard on the play, so it'll be second down along 9. High formation, 2 receivers right side. Franco looks that way. Nice spiral, and it's complete at a midfield. And Hal, number 84, I'll give you the first shot at that name.
We don't have too much problems. I think that's a Ugachoni, isn't it? Yes, Scott Ugachoni, number 84. He'd only caught 5 passes coming into tonight for 23 yards. He caught that one for about 14.
In of 12 yards on the play.
Well, they're going to call it 12 downstairs.
Xavier at midfield.
I never argue with Jimmy Bransfield.
And the ball carrier, I believe, is Neal up to right about midfield. Short pickup.
Neal
maybe a yard.
The ball for no gain.
And the ball just be inside Tiger territory. Pickup of 1, second down 9 for the Falcons.
Second and 10 from the 50.
Han's got to get one more defensive play here and then try to set up that 3rd and long situation.
6:50 to go in the first half. 10-7 Tigers. Franco looks left, has Neal out of the backfield over the 45, and Wiesbach takes him out of bounds inside the 40 at about the 39-yard line.
And it's going to be good for the first down, I believe.
He
had to get not quite to the 40, and you got to cross it down to the 39, go an 11-yard gain, and so that gives Falcons the first down. Neal was coming into this ball game the leading receiver for Xavier on the year. He had started out as a split end, and he had caught 24 passes for 265 yards coming into tonight.
Cacapardo split right. Now in the slot goes Neal, single setback. That's Repic, and he gets the carry. Gets forward for maybe 2. Bring up a 2nd and 8 for the Falcons.
Sullivan on the tackle on that play. Kind of a big game for Fritz Repic, getting a chance to play against some of the people that he's known for a long time from Madison. He's in the lineup along with Peter Jelinas, number 53, the offensive left guard and a linebacker for the Falcons. He's a junior. A couple of other Madison kids who are on the sidelines right now. Number 8, Charlie Arcand, a sophomore. Number 27, Mark Picard, a junior.
Once again, Falcons show motion. Neal, the ball carrier, left side. And coming up to make the hit for the Tigers is number 5, Matt Sullivan. And a pickup of 1, bring up 3rd and 7 for the Falcons.
No gain on the play.
This is basically where Hand would like to see Xavier. Although the Falcons, we do have to remember, did score on a 30-yard fourth down passing play. So Xavier certainly has the ability to put it up. But at the same time, you'd rather see that third and long situation. Back into the shotgun.
Shotgun for Franco, and as Hal mentioned, not much of a threat to run. He looks over the middle, thrown into 3 Tiger defenders, and Wiesbrock, I believe, got a hand on it. The pass intended for Todd Darling, the flanker.
Wiesbrock was the guy who got the hand on the ball, and that time Hand had that defense fairly well. Xavier only sent 2 people out, and there were 3 people in the zone area right around where Todd Darling was about to catch the football. But here, Falcons maybe in 4-down territory. Don't see King in the lineup, so they're going for it.
And the Falcons, I don't believe, they haven't punted the ball this evening, have they, Hal?
No, and King's got about a 37-yard average. He booms the ball.
Single setback. Franco rolls out. Repic puts a nice block on Nye, but flags are down. Neal catches the ball for the touchdown. Flags are down at about the 7 and also back close to the line of scrimmage. And I believe there is probably a holding call, I would think, against the Falcons.
And once again, the jinx strikes Xavier. The Falcons have really had that problem all year long with running into penalties on scoring plays. And now we have 2 penalties. There may have been an interference call or a defensive holding call downfield. I'm not sure. Let's see how they're doing this. Unless that was just a situation where the officials downfield saw the upfield flag and then they threw
a holding penalty against Xavier.
No.
A pass interference.
They do have the pass interference.
Hand.
So they call them both
ways. Replayed.
Well, the touchdown obviously won't stand, Hal, but both times this evening on 4th and long, the Falcons have been able to go deep on the Tigers.
Yeah, and that's not really what you would call an encouraging sign. As it turned out, this one was for naught, and now King is in, and he apparently is going to punt.
This is King in punt.
Bob Duncanson and Sullivan dropping deep for the Tigers, as I'm not sure they were expecting the punt and didn't send anybody in from the sidelines. Long count.
They were waiting to try to draw Tigers off sides on that play.
King angles it for the sidelines.
Nice corner kick.
It bounces down at the 10, and it goes into the end zone.
Punt goes into the end zone for a touchback, and will have 1st and 10 from its 20.
First down 10 for the Tigers from the 20. I formation. Sullivan, second man through. And he takes the ball up close to the 30-yard line. They'll spot it at about the 29. Big pickup of 9 for the Tigers, and their longest pickup of the evening, I believe, from a tailback position anyway.
Well, certainly from anything, Thompson had 1 scramble for 12, but that's it as far as that goes. Matt Sullivan now 4 carries for 13 yards, and his debut as a tailback. And he looked like a tailback on that one, too. He made a nice cut, got himself 9 yards.
Second down 1. Thompson sprints left, looks for some running room now. Tries to dump it off to Nye and wisely throws it out of bounds as Jelinas was over there on the coverage.
That was almost not wise because he was very, very close to the line of scrimmage on that, and only needing 1 yard, he probably could have ducked it up and gotten it. I think he maybe forgot a little bit about down and distance on that play.
1 at the 29.
Third down 1 for the Tigers. I formation. Chardy's still in at fullback. And I believe Thompson, he'll sneak it forward, and he'll get the first down.
.427 to go here. Tigers would like to get a little bit of a march going, maybe cut some time off the clock. Interesting. First half now about 45 minutes old, so it's not quite as long as we thought it was going to be, Chris. We were thinking we might not be out here before midnight.
Single setback for the Tigers. A couple receivers to the left side. Thompson looks that way. Hits Leckie on the out, and Leckie is hit hard at about the 38-yard line.
Paul Mardarski, number 62, is the linebacker who came up and made the play, but it's still good for, we call it a 7-yard gain to Billy Leckie, his second reception of the night.
Second down,
Gain of
3
7 yards
for
on
the
the
Tigers.
play.
Duncanson
Second
and
and 3
Wiesbrock
from the 38.
go to the right side. Nye is tight left, I formation, Ricciardi and Sullivan. Thompson, straight drop back. Once again, trying to get Sullivan out of the backfield. Rebeck on the coverage, and the ball incomplete at about the 42.
Dave looked like a Little League pitcher throwing a changeup on that. He just kind of wafted the ball out there, trying to, you know, almost like throwing darts, just trying to lead Sullivan just a little bit as he came off the block. And if Sully catches that ball, he had a little bit of room to run too. This is kind of, you know, not the way you normally see David Thompson rear back and fire the ball.
Third down, 3 for the Tigers, and the give is to Sullivan. Slips one tackle and may have enough for the first down on the second effort.
See where the spot is now. He's spotting it back. That's definitely gonna call for a measurement. All the officials are saying now that he's got it. Yeah. Referee Bob Fields came right over and said, no need for a measurement at all. Give him the first down. Give Sully a gain of 4. Nice second effort for Matt Sullivan.
First and 10 for hand from
Well, we know Matt's a good athlete. You know, it's a matter of learning the plays and not fumbling.
Ball at the 42-yard line, under 3 minutes to go, first half. Thompson straight back, forced out of the pocket, and taken down from behind by Ed LaCroix, number 58.
Defensive end there. Xavier's starting to put a lot more pressure right now on the Tigers. They're putting 6-7 men up there and trying to rely on staying with man-to-man defensively in the secondary. If Thompson gets time to throw the ball, he's going to have plenty of people to throw it to.
Loss of 8 on the last play. Second down, 18 for the Tigers. Shotgun formation on second down and long. Thompson straight over the middle for Nye. Has him at the 40, over the 45-yard. Slips one tackle over midfield. And finally taken out of bounds inside the 35-yard line at about the 33.
16 and 17, 33 yards on that play.
And once again, we saw the speed of Timmy Nye when he catches the ball in the open field. Nye about a 4.6 in the 40.
Timmy's now got 5 catches unofficially for 82 yards on the night, so he's having himself a fairly good night in the first half alone.
Thompson instructing his players what to do on this play. Straight drop back, looking deep for Leckie. It's overthrown, and getting a hand on it was John Bellardo.
Was intended for Leckie.
And again, we're going to see that area over the middle open right now because of the way Xavier's bringing the linebackers and the defensive line, and then trying to stay with the hand people deep. You're going to see room over the middle short open. And somebody may be able to slip in there and gain himself a nice 15 yards.
John Millardo had a hand on it at 5'6", just wasn't big enough. Had he been 3 or 4 inches taller, it might have been a Falcon interception. Thompson sprints left once again out of the backfield for Sullivan, and Xavier's saying pounce on the ball as once again the Tigers throwing that sort of lateral type of soft pass out of the backfield.
Now, Jim Bransfield's calling this a lateral downstairs, but I did not see Bob Fields make a motion one way or the other on an incomplete pass or the lateral, which means that it may have been a running play because he did not signal incomplete. So that may have just been a running, yeah, and now they're moving it back, so I guess it was. I guess it was a lateral.
Third down, 17. At the 40.
Third down, 17 now for the Tigers. Wiesbrock and Leckie to the right. Still I formation. Thompson, 3-step drop. Man on his ankles, throws it deep for Leckie, and
Cacapardo was back there.
Pardo, I believe, knocked it away from him down at about the 5-yard line.
Defended on the play.
Cacapardo's getting up limping just a little bit. Jay Cacapardo,
at the 40.
5'7", 128, doesn't really have what you'd call a whole lot of size to be able to deal with it. I mean, Billy Leckie's certainly not a giant, but Billy outweighs him by about 25 pounds.
Cacapardo right in there pound-wise with Scott Balladino, but obviously a lot of heart playing in their defensive backfield for the Falcons. So the Tigers, they'll take their second timeout of the first half. 1:58 to go. Thompson goes over to the sidelines to talk to Sakula and Ciatti. Tigers lead it 10-7.
Punt formation, King is deep.
4th down 17, punt formation for Thompson. He tries to angle it. King is back there. The ball bounces down at the 1 and goes into the end zone for the touchback.
Goes into the end zone for a touchback. Xavier will have 1st and 10.
The Falcons, a minute 51, have 80 yards to go for a touchdown and probably about maybe 55 or 60 yards to go to get within Don King field goal range.
And how do you think the Falcons will play it conservative, down 10-7 with a minute 51, or will they put it right up from at their own 20-yard line?
I think that Xavier is probably going to try to get something going here. Falcons, basically, they don't have anything to lose. I mean, they're not battling for any playoffs. It's a non-league game. They would like to have a winning record. I think they're going to try to score.
In motion, that's Darling, a flanker. They run wide to the right side with Neal. Neal gets the ball out over the 20 to about the 21. Sullivan, Nye, Duncanson, and Simmons all over there on the stop for the Tigers.
And that's something that Xavier certainly does have to establish, is the outside game. The Falcons did not do too very much of that in the first half at all, mainly because they were having trouble getting to block the hand linebackers. They were getting very tied up inside, and we're not getting out to block the linebackers at all, and you've got to be able to block the linebackers if you want to run outside.
And the clock stopped on that last play, so a minute 46 to go in the first half. And now Xavier signals for a timeout. That'll be their second. They'll have 1 left. Now 9 for the Falcons. Clock will start on the snap. Franco over center. Drop straight back. 3-step drop. Looking for King. And incomplete at about the 45-yard line. Failed to mention it earlier how at the beginning of the game, Xavier with a new coach this year, Tony Jaskett, and you know quite a bit about their old coach.
Well, Larry McHugh, of course, was the only coach the Falcons had from the time that Xavier started playing JV football and then into varsity football, 21 seasons. He finally decided that it was time to move on to something else. He's now the executive director for the Middlesex County Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure that he's here tonight because he goes to almost every Xavier game anyway.
3rd down 9. Neal, the ball carrier, gets over the 20, shows some speed getting by Bryce, and he's up very close to a 1st down. I believe he has it, as it appeared the ball got up just to about the 30-yard line, but we'll have a referee timeout for a measurement.
I think forward progress is, they're just going to go timeout to move the stakes. I believe the forward progress is plenty to get him across for the 1st down on that play. Larry, as a matter of fact, just named to the Connecticut High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame. The induction ceremonies are going to be the 8th of December at the Park Plaza down in New Haven. He'll be joining a variety of other people, including Lou Astorino from Camden, I know, is going in. A couple of people from up in the Hartford area. And that's quite an honor for him. And I'm sure that it's not the last honor that he's going to receive. You know, as a matter of fact, the Madison people think enough of him. They invited him to be the keynote speaker at the hand football banquet last year. Larry came down and did a marvelous, marvelous job.
Neal, the ball carrier on the previous play, ran to the right and was dragged down by Nye for a loss of 3. 2nd down 13. Once again, it's Neal. This time he gets the ball up to about the 34-yard line as the clock winds down. 30 seconds to go here in the first half of football. Palmer Stadium in Middletown. It's 10-7 Tigers in front of the Falcons.
I'm a little bit surprised here that Tony Jaskett not going for it here. Tony, a former quarterback, an outstanding college football player in Southern Connecticut himself, has been an assistant coach here at Xavier for about 10 years now. Certainly knows the system, knows the program. This may be a situation here where it's one last play and they're going to go for it. Well,
and ball carrier will be Neal once again. He'll fall forward to about the 36, and that'll do it. After one half of football from Palmer Stadium in Middletown, they head to the dressing room. The Hand Tigers, the 8th-ranked team in the state, in front of the Falcons of Xavier, 10-7. Just about set for the second half of football. The Tigers in front 10-7 as the rain is coming down quite hard here at Palmer Stadium. Thompson kicks the ball, bounds down at the 15, fielded nicely there by, I believe, Cacapardo slips a couple tackles, finally taken down by Wynoski at the 39-yard line. Nice return.
Yes, it was. J.C. Cacapardo. It was a tough ball to field too. It's a low-line drive. It was wet. It took the hop that he needed, and he made it pay with a nice 30-yard return on that.
39-yard line.
Falcons up at their own 39-yard line. Pretty good field position to start the second half.
They show I formation on first down, send Darling in motion. He comes left to right. They go straight up the middle. Neal, second man through the ball carrier. He'll fall forward for a pickup of about 2, bring up 2nd and 8 for the Falcons. And Hal, quite often in the rain, they'll say that favors the passing team. The Tigers threw the ball over 20 times in the first half.
All right, Hand threw the ball 21 times in the first half. Thompson threw 20 of them. He was 9 for 20 for 126 yards, 1 interception, 1 touchdown.
2nd down 8. Darling out of the backfield, read nicely by Duncanson, and he takes him down at the 44-yard line.
About a 3-yard gain on the play. That's the pattern that's been in this Xavier playbook for as long as I can remember. It's like a pick pattern almost with Darling coming to the outside. It's almost impossible to defend to stop the completion. What you have to do is what Duncanson did there, which is to keep it from turning into a big gain. He turned it into a 3-yard gain.
3rd down 5. Franco showing shotgun for the Falcons. Deep drop, big rush, sets up the screen nicely. Neal straight ahead. No one is there. No one will catch Neal. He crosses the 20, the 10, and he will go in. A well-executed screen by the Falcons.
Not only that, they caught the Tigers in a blitz. Matt Sullivan was blitzing on the play, and that opened it up. There was nobody back there to make the defensive play at all. And Xavier sits for the 55-yard touchdown and takes the lead.
Can't remember the last time I've seen a screen where there was not a hand man within 30, 40 yards of the ball carrier as he crossed inside of Tiger territory. So opening minutes of the 3rd quarter, less than 2 minutes in, and the Falcons on their home field have struck back to take the lead from the Tigers. And high snap. And rolling out, Vibert pulls down Joe Burns, who does the holding. So the conversion attempt fails, and the Tigers, they're trailed by a field goal here with 10:19 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's now the Falcons 13 and the Tigers 10.
Fake on the way, and the snap was up high, but I believe that was a planned play. That wasn't something that Burns decided to do on his own. Falcons trying to add a little bit to the lead. Why they do that, I don't know. That's something that Xavier has done a number of times this year, though. But with a kicker like King, you might just well take the points when you can get them. Because right now they put Hand into a situation where field goal ties it up, and they are playing overtime tonight.
Right, and 14-10 or 15-10 would not appear to make much of a difference. They would have, as you say, maybe taken a sure extra point, and now they're within a field goal, and we know Thompson can boot him. He's already hit one in this game from 30. This time he feels a kickoff at the 12, slips back as he tries to cut down to the right side, and he falls down at about the 23-yard line.
11 to the 23.
We'll see what happens in the rain as far as the Tigers' passing game is concerned. A lot of times with the wet ball and so on, that can be a problem. Although here the receivers do know where they're going to cut, and that is an advantage. The receivers knowing what they're going to do, and the defenders trying to have to play catch-up. But at the same time, you do have a wet ball to throw, and that can be slippery.
High formation. Thompson gives to Sullivan. Nice cutback. Slips one tackle. And finally taken down at about the 27-yard line. And on the tackle, Rick Flynn, number 75, defensive tackle. Sullivan got pretty close to 5 yards on the play, so that'll bring up 2nd and 5. Scott Duncanson comes to the left. In the slot is Wiesbrock. Naya's tight right side. High formation, Ricciardi and Sullivan fake. And Jelinas looked like he had the interception. Nye may have pulled the ball out of his hands and falls up to the 39.
Timmy Nye just outfought Peter Jelinas for the ball there. Again, Nye's size and strength. Jelinas a little bit smaller at about 5'8", and they list him at 5'10", 185, but Nye at 6'5" and 200 is a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, and he just kind of took the ball away from Peter Jelinas on that play.
Gain of 9 yards on the play. 1st and 10 for Hand from his 37-yard
Ball sitting at
line.
about the 37-yard line, 1st and 10. Once again, eye for the Tigers. Thompson to Lecky on the hook, and it's complete. And it appears to be another Tiger first down.
A gain of 11 yards and a hand
I believe
first
that
down.
they are going to get the first down, and Billy Lecky was wide open on the hook pattern that time. There was nobody within 8 yards of him. He just caught the ball and went right to his knees.
And we may see Thompson throwing underneath a bit to Lecky as they really respecting the speed of Lecky, but right now they're showing the man-to-man on Lecky at the 48-yard line. Thompson pitches to Metz in the ball game right side, gets a nice block from Murphy over the 35 and down at about the 34-yard line. Peter Metz and another Tiger first down.
And there's a Xavier player down. I believe it's Cacapardo, and I believe he's cramped. Steve Sekula across the way calling for somebody to come out from the Xavier side. So we're going to have a stoppage in play here. Okay, plays back in. Cacapardo did come off the side with apparently what's going to be probably a cramp. I think he'll probably be back.
Thompson sprints out left, has Wiesbrock at the 31, complete. Short pickup of 3 for the Tigers.
Thompson's pass is complete to Wiesbrock.
8 minutes, 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Falcons 13, Tigers 10, and the Tigers threatening with the ball at the 31-yard line. Mike Ciotti leads them to the line. Once again, Tigers showing I formation. Lecky split to the right side. Thompson, he'll look left for Nye. Underthrows the ball. Nye tries to come back for it. Incomplete at the 10-yard line.
Again, they're playing bump on Timmy Nye on that side. They're double teaming him basically. John Millardo there, number 21, but he did not really knock the ball down. The ball more or less hit him. But they're trying to bump Nye at the line of scrimmage, take him off his stride, and then trying to stay with him coming downfield and doubling on him when they get the opportunity to do so as well.
3rd down 7 for the Tigers. They need to get the ball down inside the 24-yard line for a first down. And Thompson hands off to Sullivan, and he's hit hard by Rick Flynn. Sullivan got the ball just inside the 30. They'll spot it at the 29, and it'll be a short pickup for the Tigers.
Sets up a 4th and 5 play. A little bit long on a field goal. This would be like about a 46, 47 yarder. That's the kind of thing that you say for heroics at the end of the ball game.
5 at the 29.
At this point right here, Tigers probably going to go for it.
Once again, I formation, man-to-man. Lecky and John Millardo. But Thompson will hit Nye across the middle, and Nye will get inside the 20 to the 19, and another Tiger first down.
Just nice, simple crossing pattern. Thompson put the ball exactly where he needed to, out of the reach of the defenders, right in Timmy Nye's hands, and it's good for a 16-yard gain down to the 18-yard line.
Xavier takes timeout.
And the Falcons will take timeout with 7:10 to go, third quarter, and a 13-10 Falcon lead. First down 10, Tigers, 19-yard line. Thompson keeps it himself and falls forward. Gets inside the 15, up close to the 14-yard line, and a pickup of about 4 on the QB sneak.
That last catch for Timmy Nye, by the way, would officially put him over 100 yards for the night in receptions. Timmy was 7 catches for 107 yards at this point, according to the numbers. I'm trying to keep him in the raindrops here.
2nd down 6, Tigers. Man-to-man left side with Lecky. Thompson looks for Lecky, but he's being pursued. Can't get it off. Now forced to run. And the ball, it's fumbled. I don't know if they're going to rule it a pass. They're saying that his arm was going forward, and I guess they'll rule an incomplete pass.
I'm not sure what they did. Simmons was Johnny on the spot to pounce on the ball. They are calling it an incomplete pass. Thompson was lucky to be able to get that ball off. Bob Hughes threw a very, very nice block to pick somebody off. And we're seeing Cacapardo, number 1, was limping in the end zone once again. Apparently his leg cramped back up on him.
And number 75, Rick Flynn, pursuing Thompson in the backfield. He's also made quite a few tackles here in the third quarter of action.
There's a flag on the play. Xavier penalized half the distance to the goal for holding.
Penalty. Defensive holding. That should be an automatic first down also, I believe. That is the first penalty on Xavier, aside from that double penalty we had in the first half when the Falcons lost a touchdown. But both teams were penalized on that one. Xavier for
first and goal
holding
to go
and
for
hand for pass interference.
at the 8-yard line.
That's the first penalty for Xavier all night.
First and goal from the 8 as the Tigers looking to come right back after Xavier scored here on their first possession of the third quarter, but stopped right at the line of scrimmage, the ball carrier Peter Metz.
Right, Metz with his second carry of the night, seeing a little bit of action here tonight. Again, the Tigers, without Kevin Piggott, not really having what you would call a devastating running attack by any means.
Second down and 8 yards for a Tiger touchdown. Leckie split right. Some movement on the...
I believe Xavier is going to get called on this one. It looked like a Xavier man stepped into the neutral zone on the right defensive side of the Xavier line, the offensive left side of the hand. So that's going to cost the Falcons 4 yards and put the ball down onto the 4-yard line with a second and goal from that point. And once again, the bugaboo penalty starting to bother Xavier a little bit. They eating up a little bit of yardage here. Tigers got a first down out of it. Now they're set up with a second and goal from the 4.
To go at the 4-yard line.
3 chances for the Tigers to put it in from the 4. As Thompson looks like he's calling some type of audible at the line of scrimmage. This time he fakes to Metz, looks in the corner of the end zone, and it's picked off. 45. Don King with the interception in the right-hand corner of the end zone, and Don just must have scooped that one off the turf, very close to the turf, was managed to get his hands underneath the ball, and a big play after the Falcon defense had hurt themselves with penalties.
Yeah, I'm very surprised on that because I thought that the ball bounced, but it's very tough to see over in that corner of the end zone. Now I knew Sullivan didn't come up with it, but I wasn't really aware that King was. I thought he was waving it off as an incompleted pass, and he was just saying now that's a touchback.
So the hand drive stalls as Thompson throws an interception. This time Neal, ball carrier, comes left. He's shirt tail down, but not until he picks up 12 yards and a Falcon first down. Ball up over the 30 to about the 32, 33-yard line.
18 carries already for Mark Neal for 75 yards tonight. And we still have not seen Ferriello get into the ball game at all. He's the young man who had almost 700 yards in the first 5-6 weeks of the season, did not play at all last week, or very little last week, and has not yet played at all tonight.
5 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. Repick, first man through, sidesteps a couple of tacklers and falls forward to about the 40-yard line. Nice pickup by Fritz Repick.
And he now has 7 carries for 27 yards. Again, he's not the guy who carries the football all the time by any means, but he does a heck of a job when he does. I saw his dad up here in the press box before. Fred Repick said that it was kind of a big night for the young man, getting his last home game at Xavier, and then, of course, getting a chance to play against all the kids that he pretty much grew up with in Madison.
Power left. Second man through, though. Repick, who lined up in a tailback position, gets the ball up close to a first down, and they may need a measurement for this one.
And then now they're saying that it is a first down.
It is a Xavier first down.
What happened on that play was that Peter Jelinas, number 53, is Jelinas 53, I believe? Yes, he is. got a jersey, came in with number 5 on it. He goes into the backfield wearing number 5, which is an eligible backfield number, and then just throws the block and springs epic on that play. They've done it a couple of times tonight, and it worked for a first down there.
Neal left side, and Hevesy now into the ball game at defensive end, drags him down at the 45-yard line. Gain of 2 on the play, 2nd and 8 for the Falcons as the rain lets up a little here.
I was just going to say, I thought it was starting to come down a little bit harder. Sitting here trying to take notes at the same time. That's the first time I've done this. I'll tell you what, I have a lot of admiration for Paul Nichols for what he did last week with the kind of job he did with talking and still trying to keep stats and then do a story afterwards.
2nd down play. Sweep right, Neal over the 45, over the 50, slips a couple tacklers. Nobody will catch Neal, and he rambles for a 57-yard touchdown.
On that play, Dennis Simmons had a shot at him in the backfield and was about a half a step too slow. He dove just as Neal turned the corner, and the pursuit just simply was not there.
So 6 more for the homestanding Falcons. They've now upped their lead to 19-10, and we'll have to wait and see whether they'll go for the 1 or for the 2. Well, they line up in a power eye left, and Jelinas, wearing number 5, is the flanker in the backfield. He'll go in motion left to right. They'll look for Jelinas in the right-hand corner, and he has it for the 2. Franco to, we suspect, Jelinas wearing number 5. Jelinas from Madison gets 2 more for the Falcons, and they've upped their lead now to an all-important 11 points. So the Tigers will need 2 TDs. It's now the Falcons 21 and the Tigers 10.
And you know that's got to be a big minute for Peter Jelinas, too. Another Madisonite getting a chance to come back and do something against his teammates. And it's not too often that an offensive lineman gets a chance to line up and catch a pass to score some points.
And early in his career here at Xavier, Jelinas had played quarterback. And I recall also him throwing a pass. He was a holder a year or 2 ago on the extra points. I remember down at Strong Field, Jelinas throwing a pass. So he's done quite a few things up here in Xavier.
I'll tell you, there's another streak that's in danger here tonight, Chris. You realize that Hand has never lost at Palmer Field. Every time the Tigers have played Xavier up here, Hand has won. And until last year, every time that Xavier played down in Madison, the Falcons had won the ball game. Last year broke the string, and this year it looks like it may be on its way to being broken again.
And this game starting to measure up to the game of last year when it was, I believe, 26-21 down at Strong Field, and that was a heck of a ball game last year. King to do the kicking. This one will come down at about the 15. Thompson will take it there, runs straight up the middle behind the wall, over the 30, over the 35, up to the 37-yard line, and the Tigers, they've got their work cut out for them. Down 11 points, 3.5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Thompson took a little bit of a helmet in the back from one of his own teammates on that play. Dave was a tad slow getting up, and if that happens, that is definitely bad news if there's a problem there.
First and 10 from the Tigers' own 37-yard line. I've only seen the I formation. Thompson over the middle to Nye, almost intercepted by King as the ball got there a little too fast, I guess, and falls incomplete at about the 40-yard line, and Nye is shaken up.
Timmy Nye had to turn defender in a big hurry on that play. The ball was a tad overthrown, and Don King looked like he had an interception in his sights, and Nye very smartly decided to put the hit on King and knock the ball away. But Timmy Nye hurt himself in the process. Now they're waving Xavier people off the field. The Hand coaches are out there with Nye, so apparently, hopefully, it's nothing too serious. Timmy Nye did get back up, and he was going to sit this play out at least, but he went back over to the sideline. He shrugged off any help, and he put his helmet back on, so he's ready to go.
Duncanson replaced Knight, the tight end. The flanker Wiesbrock with the reception at the 40-yard line. Pick up a 3, bring up a 3rd and 7 for the Tigers. .245 to go, third quarter. Tigers show shotgun. Thompson forced to run, lots of room. He'll get the first down and more. Over midfield, over 45, slips one tackle, one man to beat. He'll do it. He may go all the way as he cuts back past cap. Jelinas pulls him down.
They're
right
marking it on the 1-yard line.
Inside the 1-yard line. As Cacapardo slowed him down enough for Jelinas to get there. Thompson, unbelievable effort on the play. Takes the Tigers down inside the 1.
Scotty Duncanson threw a marvelous block upfield about 12 yards after Thompson started that run. Duncanson, it looked like Thompson was going to get hit, and Duncanson took 2 people out and gave him the chance to cut it back across the field. And then other people came down and started throwing blocks. The guys who had been down deep on as the receivers.
Can't say enough about the game Jelinas is playing, both offensively and defensively, as Thompson catches his breath at the line of scrimmage. And he sneaks over left side and gets the TD. So just what the Tigers needed to get back in this ball game quickly. Dave Thompson, about a half-yard sneak over the left side of the line with 2:01 to go, third quarter. It's now 21-16. And we'll have to see what the Tigers do here, Hal, whether they'll go for the 1 or for the 2.
I would certainly, I think, right here, I think I'd still go for 1 because, you know, even though, granted, you would get within a field goal the other way, you still have to consider the fact that tell you what, David Thompson earned that touchdown. I mean, you know, you say, well, you know, he's the quarterback, he can call his own number, but with the first 64 yards or so that he got on that play, he deserved the last one.
Well, the Tigers perhaps wondering themselves what to do, go for 1 or go for 2 if called a timeout. They trail by 5 at this point. The 2 points would put them within a field goal of a tie ball game. And Hal, what does we can't have a tie in this ball game?
We go into a tiebreaker system. The overtime is the Kansas tiebreaker. You get 4 downs from the 10-yard line. They'll have a coin flip. They'll decide who goes first. Winner of the coin flip gets to decide whether they go first or the other team goes first. If you score, the other team gets the ball and the opportunity to match it, and you play an even number of rounds. So, you know, it's sort of to your advantage to go last. See what the other team does, although there is an advantage to going first, because then if you put some points up, you're forcing the other team to do something. It's a matter mostly of being patient. The other team kicks a field goal, you know, you kind of have to set yourself to do it. And the Tigers are going to go, yes, they are going to go for 2. Simmons is in at fullback, but they are going to go for 2.
Thompson sprints right behind Simmons and Metz. He looks like he'll try to run it in. And he does. So the Tigers talked it over, decided to go for 2, and Thompson runs it in over the right side. So with 2:01 to go, third quarter, we've got a ball game here. It's the Xavier Falcons 21 and the Hand Tigers 18. Get him into the tiebreaker at the end of the game. I just figured that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Mark Neal standing at his own 8-yard line. Thompson's kick, squib kick up the middle. And it's fielded by Jelinas at the 18. Right side, 20, 25, 30, 35, still on his feet. Out over the 40 to the 41. Simmons in on the tackle, and once again, Peter Jelinas.
I'll tell you what, the Madison kids get pumped up when they're going to play against their, you know, the guys they grew up with, the kids they played in the neighborhood with and stuff. Now the Madison kids on the Xavier team, Repick and Jelinas especially, who are doing a lot of the playing tonight, have both had outstanding football games.
And the nose of the football just over the 40-yard line, first and 10. Last minute and a half of the third quarter. High formation, 2 receivers left. Now in motion, that's Darling. And Franco looks for Darling deep against Wynoski. Wynoski turns now that Darling turns, and Darling lunges forward at the 30 and just can't hang on.
Darling turned Wynoski around on that play when he went to the inside for the ball. Wynoski was playing man. He had no idea where the ball was on that play, unfortunately, and luckily for the Tigers, the ball was about 2 inches overthrown. You know, we know Franco can air the ball out. There's no question about that. He's statistically not having a great night. He's only completed 4 out of 10 passes, but he's thrown them for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
2nd down and 10. And the give is to McNeil, right side, up to the 45-yard line. Bryce
carried the ball.
And Dave Green, the nose guard, in on the tackle. 3rd down, 6.
That gives Neal unofficially 141 yards and 22 carries for the night. And, of course, he's also managed to catch 2 passes for 66 more. So he just went over 200 yards in total offense for the evening.
Gain of 5 yards on the play.
We've seen quite a few running backs pick up some nice yardage. LeMay had 150 or 150 plus when Morgan played the Tigers also. Shotgun. Fumble as Franco tried to hand it off to Repic. Now dragged down hard by Sullivan at the 38.
And that's a play out of the Dallas Cowboys playbook. Cowboys like to do that on the shotgun. They'll do the inside handoff to somebody cutting across, and that time he kind of put the ball on Repic's hip, and the ball just bounced free, and Franco had the presence of mind to be able to scoop it up and try to make something out of it. But the Tigers did manage to nail him for a loss, and that sets up a punt.
This is King in punt formation.
King will punt it with 10 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. He hits a beauty, drags Sullivan back inside the 12, takes a bounce and goes into the end zone.
63 yards, and a good portion of that was in the air. Don King can kick the football.
King's 63-yard punt went into the end zone for a touchback. 1st and 10 for Hand from its 20.
Don King had about a 37-yard average going into tonight's ball game, and you know we know that he has a leg. We know he can kick extra points. We know he can kick off, and now we know he can punt too. I understand that there are some colleges interested in him. Certainly, possibly the University of Connecticut, which is desperate for somebody who can kick the ball.
This may well be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Right side, ball carrier, I believe, was Sullivan. Picks up a couple. They'll change ends. So we're getting set to start 4th quarter action. And the Falcons lead this one 21-18.
As we start the 4th quarter, Chris, big series coming up for the Tigers here.
And Thompson tries to sneak it over the left side, and he's met head up by Kevin Moravec.
Gain about 1 on the play, and that brings up a 3rd and 6 situation for the Tigers. And Hand's got to get something going here in the way of offense if the Tigers want to keep alive their playoff hopes.
Thompson carried the ball, gain of 2 yards, 3rd and 6 at the 24.
3rd down, Tigers. Thompson sprinting left. He tucks it under, tries to run, and Repic takes Thompson down at the 25-yard line, and the Tigers will have to punt it away.
Yes, they will. And Thompson thought he saw a hole there, but Fritz Repic, playing the linebacker, came over and plugged it up very, very quickly. And he forced that 4th down situation. Now we'll see what happens on the exchange of punts. King banged the ball 63 yards and put it into the end zone. Let's see what Thompson does here. He's got 75 yards worth of field to work with.
Neal and Darling are deep. Thompson hits it from his 18, and I don't know if it was blocked or went off the side of his foot, but Neal will pick it up at the 40, slips a couple hand tacklers. Finally, Simmons and Ciotti pound him down at the 46-yard line.
Turned out to be a 35-yard punt, and Neal made a very, very nifty move there. He just kind of stopped in his tracks, let 2 guys run by him, and then cut it upfield and gained himself 6 yards on the return. That ball looked like it slipped off the side of Thompson's foot. Certainly was not a vintage David Thompson punt by any means.
To his 46. First and 10, Xavier from its 46-yard line.
Xavier has the ball on their own 46-yard line, I formation. Franco stumbles a little after getting the snap. Hands it off to Neal, and he stumbles forward after being hit at the 49. He'll stumble forward to almost the 49 of the Tigers. So the Falcons once again in Tiger territory.
It's just over the 50. Call that a gain of 4.
Gain of 5 yards on the play.
145 yards on 23 carries so far tonight.
Second down looks like about a long 5. And Franco gives to Neal left side this time, and Neal tries to get up to about the 45. I think he'll be about a yard shy, about the 46-yard line.
Gain of 4, 3rd and 1.
Hevesy over there on that side made the tackle. Chris Hevesy getting some fairly extended playing time now on the defensive line for the Tigers.
Third down and about 1.5 for the Falcons.
Look for Repic.
Second man through is Neal. Big hole, slips a couple tacklers. Finally, ankle tackle down by Wynoski at the 33-yard line.
First down.
18-yard gain for Neal on that one. That's when maybe the Tigers were looking for the same thing I was there. Just Fritz Repic trying to blast his way for the yard. They went to the second man through Neal. The hole opened up. Bingo.
Mark Neal doing a nice job of breaking tackles. Listed at 5'10", 160, and runs like he's about 175. He's met head-on right here, though, at the 29-yard line by Bob Duncanson, and Duncanson puts Neal on his back.
Gain of 3 yards on the play, 2nd and 7 at the 30.
We'll give them about 3 on the play. Ball at the 29-yard line. 2nd down, 7.
This is what Han does not need to see happen here. Is not only the Falcons in scoring position here, but they're also eating time off the clock. We're down to 8.5 minutes, a little under 8.5 minutes to go in the ball game.
Darling in motion left to right. Neal, the ball carrier, and he'll get it down to about the 25. Clock ticking, 8:15 in the ball game.
Gain of 4 yards on the play, 3rd and 2 at the 25.
2 down situation for the Falcons with the ball at the 25. It's 3rd and a long 2.
Tigers have to come up with something big defensively right here.
And 2 tight ends. Now Darling will split out to the right and shift into a power eye to the left side. Ball carrier is Repic. And he'll get up very close to a first down.
And again, Jelinas lined up in the backfield that time, and he was the point of attack blocker on that play.
Official time for a measurement.
Officials are measuring it from this angle. It looks short, but you know, they're going to come all the way across the field. It's not easy for us to tell from up here, but I have a tendency to think it's a little bit short.
Well, regardless, if they're short, it'll be 4th down in inches. And the way the Tigers have been playing defensively against the run, they're going to have a heck of a lot of trouble stopping the Falcons on a 4th and inches. And it appears that it will be short.
4th down, less than a yard.
And once again, Jelinas is wearing number 5, and he's in the backfield, so you can figure that wherever he goes, the ball carrier is going to be following.
Jelinas lines up in a power left.
The Tigers are taking a timeout here.
And takes timeout.
It's Hand's second timeout of the second half, trying to talk over a defensive play here.
Here for the Tigers, 4th down, about 6 inches. Franco sneaks it, and he didn't get a heck of a lot. He didn't need a lot. He probably, I would think, Hal, was able to get 6 inches out of it.
It's hard to say. Chris Hevesy was pointing the other way right away, and the officials are calling for a measurement. I have a tendency to think that he probably got it by the stripe of the football. That's going to be my guess from here, is that he probably made it by about 2 to 3 inches.
The ball appears to be just inches forward of where it was before. He may not have made it.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it. He missed it by probably less than 2 inches.
Well, he only needed about maybe 4 inches, so he got 2-3 inches out of it. I'd have to say it looked, when he snuck the ball, that he had gotten enough for the first down, but the Tigers getting the benefit of the mark on that play, I think.
Hand also got a nice surge defensively. Did not let that Falcon line penetrate.
First down, ball carrier Sullivan. That ball is wet. Tigers will have to make sure they hold on to it as 7:15 to go. Sullivan carries the ball up over the 25 to about the 26. Pickup of about 4 yards. So it'll be a 2nd down and 6.
At this point, with 7 minutes left to go in the ball game, this drive becomes very, very crucial for the Tigers. They've about got to score now.
Tigers will show triple receivers to the left side. Thompson will sprint that way. And he throws over the middle to Leckie. If he can get by this man, he'd have open field. What a nice open field tackle. After Leckie got the ball up to about the 41-yard line, that was Paul Mordarski, the rover.
62, plays the rover defensively and plays the center offensively. Came back to make the stop on that, but the Tigers going back to the formation that they showed early in the game with just one back and everybody else out into the pass pattern.
Leckie splits to the right side, and he's being bumped to the line of scrimmage. Thompson now runs, cuts back across field. One man slips down, gets by King. He may go all the way as Thompson beat 2 or 3 men. Only one man can beat him. That's Murray. 89.
That was
Murray
was the only man left.
He couldn't do it, and Thompson on, I'd have to call it second, third effort.
David Thompson just wanted it more than anybody else on the football field did on that particular play. That is what happens when you have a great athlete. Great athletes make things happen, and that shows, I think, everybody who ever had any doubts what David Thompson is all about. He just wanted it more than anybody else did. You saw him kick into about 2nd and 3rd and 4th gears and finally just pull away and go for the touchdown.
Thompson with a big run has got the Tigers the lead 24-21. Simmons will be on to try to make it a 4-point Tiger lead. 6:16 to go here in the ball game, and David Thompson on 2 long runs tonight must have about 100 yards anyway.
127 I have him for.
Simmons' kick is good as Sullivan got the snap down.
Matt Sullivan, nice hands on that play. That was a low snap along the ground. Sullivan picked it up, planted it, and gave Simmons plenty of time to get the boot up.
So the Xavier fans are a bit quiet now as the Tigers have jumped back in front. 6:16 to go, and they lead at 25-21. Wiesbrock squibs it down the middle. They'll let Neal handle it. He does it to 20. Looks for running room, slips, falls forward to about the 28-yard line, and Hal, it's been Neal for the Falcons tonight and Thompson for the Tigers.
Right now Thompson has a 4-point lead, but that's still pretty slim. There's no question about that, and we know that Xavier has a variety of ways to score. Looked like there was a little mix-up on that play. Not too many Falcons seemed to want to touch the ball. They kind of let it roll around until Neal got to it. By that time, what holes there were had totally been closed off.
Under 6 to go in the ball game. 1st and 10. Falcons. They give the ball to Neal. Left side, cuts back, and he'll get up to about the 35-yard line. Matt Sullivan in on the tackle for the Tigers. Pickup of about 7 yards for the Falcons. Bring up 2nd down and 3.
I have him unofficially 28 carries for 177 yards right now. Mark Neal having himself quite a night.
Falcons on 2nd and 3 will pitch the ball to Neal left side. He cuts back. Wiesbrock meets him head on, and a couple other hand tacklers get over there, and they'll keep Neal short of the 1st down, I believe.
That time, John Wiesbrock maybe made as good a defensive play as any of the hand people have all night. He had Todd Darling blocking on him, and he just did exactly what he's supposed to do, which was to turn the play back inside, and then he went one step further than that, and he fought Darling off and came back in to make the tackle as well. Very good play for John Wiesbrock.
Well, they've given Neal a pretty good spot on the play. He's going to be up close to a 1st down. It's going to be inches either way.
He has it by the stripe on the football that he didn't get it by last time.
Well, I'd have to say that time the Falcons got the better end of the spot as opposed to the last time on that 4th down where the Tigers got the benefit of the doubt.
5 minutes left here, Chris. Starting to wind the clock down a little bit.
And Cacapardo was split to the left side. Neal straight up the middle. And he may pick up 2 yards. Hevesy, Rice, and a couple other tacklers for the Tigers in on the play. About a 2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8. Bob Duncanson and Sullivan are the safeties. Wiesbrock and Wynoski, the rovers. In the middle, we see Simmons and Bryce. Hevesy in at defensive end along with Timmy Nye. Darling goes in motion left to right. Franco over the 35-36 line, hits his tight end, co-captain Rick Murray. And they'll spot it up to the 47-yard line. And it'll bring up 3rd down. And looks like about a long 2 for the Falcons.
It's the first pass that Rick Murray's caught all night. He's a big young man. He's about 6'4", 195 pounds. Outstanding catcher in baseball. I've had scouts tell me that he's somebody that they're going to be following this spring. And I know that he has a heck of a bat. Hand fans may remember 2 years ago when he was a sophomore, he had about 5 hits down in Madison.
3rd down, long 2 for the Falcons. They need a 1st down to keep this drive alive. Repick, the ball carrier, and he appears to be shy of a 1st down, and no doubt with 3:40 to go, the Falcons will be forced to go for it on 4th and 1.
I would think Xavier's going to go for it, and Fritz Repick tried to spin into the line that time. He put his back to it and kind of tried to push over the top, and the Tigers were there to meet him and hold him just a tad short of where he wanted to go.
Official time for a measurement.
Now the officials are going to bring in the chains and they're going to call for a measurement to see how far short it is, and it is the better part of a yard short.
Down 1 yard.
Hey, Chris, the other thing to think about at this point is that field is starting to get a little bit wet and it may be a little bit slippery. It may be somewhat difficult for people to get the footing, especially the linemen I'm thinking about, to get the footing to really surge out on their blocks. And that, to a certain degree, can cause problems in a situation like this. We're sitting here with a 4th and 1. This time the hand defense has got to come through again. The Tigers stopped them last time on a 4th and 1. Let's see what they do here.
And Jelinas in at the power back left side. And Repick, I believe, the ball carrier, 2nd effort as he was stopped short of the 1st down. Lunged forward and picked up a couple of yards into Tiger territory at the 48-yard line, 49-yard line, 3:25 and counting in the ball game. Tigers in front 25-21, trying to keep their Class MM playoff hopes alive.
Good 2nd effort on that by Fritz Repick. He was stopped behind the line of scrimmage, and he spun it around and took it to the outside and got his 1st down. Big play from the senior captain.
Franco will put it out to Darling. He'll cross the 35 and finally taken out of bounds at the 33 by Sullivan. And that play has been very successful for the Falcons. Throwing to Darling, coming out of the backfield in motion.
Now again, it's that play where he's coming across to that side, and there was just nobody anywhere near him on that play at all. And that's a problem.
Gain of 16 yards on the play.
2 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the ball game. Falcons down by 4 and threatening at the Tiger 33-yard line. And that's Neal. And he'll pick up a couple, hit hard by Simmons, Green, and Duncanson also over on the tackle. 2:30 to go in the ball game.
Neal got up a little bit woozy on that one. Duncanson, I hate to say this, his father's going to get mad at me, but he met him with a helmet head on, which is supposed to be a no-no. Nobody said anything about it, but the two of them butted helmets as it turned out. And Neal got up a little woozy.
Pickup of 2 on the play, 2nd down and 8. Darling in motion left to right, I formation, fake, and going into the flat to Repick, and the ball pops loose, and it's recovered by the Tigers.
Now let's see if they call it a completed pass or if they call it just simply an incomplete.
They are calling it a complete pass.
Completed pass and fumble, which I think is a good call because I think Fritz Rebick did have the ball for at least a step, and before he got hit and coughed the ball up. That's one that could have gone either way.
I'd have to say, Hal, though, from watching at least a lot of college and NFL games, when the ball carrier or the receiver, the pass is hit pretty close to the time of the pass, and the ball pops loose, 9 out of 10 times they call it an incomplete pass. By that time, the break goes the Tigers' way, and with 1:40 and counting, they'll look to run things out here. They've got a 4-point lead, and the ball at the 16-yard line. Thompson keeps left side, gets up to about the 20-yard line, minute 25. And the Falcons have signaled for their second timeout of the half, and they'll have one left in the ball game. Second down, Thompson will sprint out to the left side, slips one tackler and goes down at about the 19. .16 showing on the clock, and the Falcons.
Yes, they have, because defensive coach coming onto the field right now. Either that or else they're going to try with a 12th man in the huddle.
Third down for the Tigers. They need 7 to end this game with a first down. Thompson will sprint right, and he'll be dragged down at the 15-yard line. Repick dragging him down, but the clock's ticking. Minute left in the ball game.
Repick simply wanted that one very, very much. Fritz Repick came all the way across the field from the right side to the left side and ran David Thompson down in the backfield. Again, you know, he's not only from Madison, but he's also the Xavier captain. And there's a lot of pride involved for the Falcons here. They don't want to be the people who are on the first losing team ever at Xavier. And they're still working just as hard as they possibly can to avoid that happening. With half a minute or so to go, you never know what's going to happen.
Falcons will get the ball back, but there'll be only around 20 seconds or so in the ball game when they do so. Darling will field the ball at the 45, should look to get out of bounds, doesn't, cuts back over midfield and up to about the 46-yard line where the clock will stop with 19 seconds to go.
It was Dennis Simmons was the guy who made the hit, and he just made very, very sure on that one. He squared himself up, put his arms around him, and just kind of wrapped him up until some teammates got there.
Well, the Tigers...
nice punt under pressure, by the way, for David Thompson on that play, because Xavier sent 9 people, and Thompson about got it away, and he got a fairly good kick out of it.
Tigers not necessarily confused, but Coach Ciotti wanting to tell David Thompson a few things as far as what to do defensively here, and so the Tigers will take time out with 19 seconds left in the ball game, and this has been an unbelievable ball game with the Tigers now leading at 25-21.
Typical hand Xavier football, Chris. You know it's always going to be a great football game. This is one rivalry that you've got to hope never ever peters out in any way, shape, or form. It's just great football all the time. 2 good teams, 2 well-coached teams. 2 teams that play the game the way it should be played, and it's like a pleasure to watch.
Shotgun formation for the Falcons. They're out of timeouts. Straight down the middle, almost picked off in and out of the hands of Simmons at the 25. Murray was the intended receiver. 5 seconds ticked off, so it'll be second down. 14 seconds showing on the clock.
And also back there in that play, Robbie Duncanson had a shot at it after it went through Dennis Simmons' hands. Tigers basically playing a whole lot of people deep, and they had 4 people around Ricky Murray on that particular play. But Hand is playing, right now Thompson and Sullivan almost look like they're expecting a punt. What Hand has to do is get a little bit of rush, just enough to make Franco think about the fact that he's got to throw the ball instead of standing back there waiting for somebody to get open.
Lone setback.
Watch Neal underneath.
Franco. And they try to razzle-dazzle, Miami Dolphin style. as Cacapardo caught the ball and then lateraled it to Neal, who went down the left sideline and got the ball down to about the 26-yard line.
6 seconds left, which means we have probably the last play of the ball game coming up, and the Falcons need to score. It's that simple.
And that Simmons extra point on the last Tiger touchdown looms very important at this point, as we know that King is capable of maybe perhaps booting a field goal from this distance had they only trailed by 3 here.
Yeah, they certainly would have thought about trying it. And Matt Sullivan's hold was very key there, too, picking the ball up off the ground.
Franco, he'll heave it as far as he can. Cacapardo comes back and catches the ball. No, they call it incomplete. It wouldn't have been enough for a touchdown, but a valiant effort by the Falcons and Franco and both Cacapardo on that final play of the ball game. So the Tigers, in a seesaw affair from Palmer Field here in Middletown, have come back to take a 4-point win and keep their playoff hopes alive. A 25-21 ball game.
And right out in the middle of the field, Coach Steve Sekula was down on the ground with one. It looked like David Green, the line nose guard for the Tigers, had him down on the ground and was congratulating him in the way that only Steve Sekula could, with a huge bear hug. You got to know that the Tiger people are very, very happy right now. This is always an emotional game for Han, certainly as much as it is for Xavier. And maybe Han had as much emotion tonight as we've seen since the Maloney game. And the Tigers just went out and got the job done.
And Xavier showed a bit more offense than they've been showing for most of the year. Came up with 21 points, and can't say enough about the running of Mark Neal.
Wow, Mark Neal had just a tremendous night. I have him unofficially 31 carries for 183 yards. Another key to the ballgame, the fact that the Falcons only had 2 penalties that were called, both of them when Han got down close, and then the only other penalty in the ballgame for Xavier came on that double foul in which the Falcons lost a touchdown. But Xavier was called for holding at the same time Han was called for pass interference. Very penalty-free game. The Tigers were, aside from that double foul, were only called for 1 penalty for 5 yards as well. It's a great football game.
And on the other side of the coin, the key to the Tigers tonight, Hal, David Thompson.
Oh, without question. David Thompson's got to be the MVP. He plays 48 minutes. He's in on every single play. He ran for 127 yards. I had him 415 carries. He threw the ball 30 times, completed, I had him 15 for 30 for 173 yards and a couple of TDs. And the touchdown run that he made is one of those things that you just, you want to savor that one for a long time, because that's the way you like to remember a great athlete like David Thompson. Just a situation that he wanted it more than anybody else on the football field did. And when it came right down to it, the superstar got it done.
So it looks like another trip, possibly for the Tigers, to the Double M playoffs, Hal. Could they afford a loss against Guilford? Not to put you on the spot, I know you compile all the statistics, but as far as what you know at this point, could they, not that they will.
No. At this point, no, they can't, because Newtown's sitting with only a loss and a tie. Wilton, of course, only has the 1 loss. And then you're sitting there with East Catholic right behind, and St. Bernard coming on very, very strong in the last couple of weeks. Now, I won't say that they definitely will not go if they lose, but I'll say that right now I would have to sit down and do a lot of projecting, and I think the Tigers would have to do a lot of hoping that some outside opponents won some ball games if that was going to be the case. I think that right now you have to say that Han has to beat Guilford. Tigers, of course, have never lost to Guilford, but at the same time, the Indians are always going to be a team that's going to battle you, and Han Guilford, anything can happen.
Well, so that'll do it here from Palmer Stadium in Middletown. The next broadcast will be about 2 weeks from this Monday, after the Thanksgiving Day game on Thursday at Strong Field at 10:30 against the Guilford Indians. And Hal, will you be back for the Thanksgiving Day game against Guilford?
Yeah, I guess I will. Chris, you have to realize, Chris, where I went last week, okay? I did not go see UConn or anything else. I went down and watched Darien and Wilton play. I wanted to see Fairfield County football, and also knowing that Wilton was a potential hand opponent, just wanted to get a chance to watch Wilton play and see what that football team looked like. And it could be a very interesting matchup. Wilton's a team that plays wishbone offense, plays a 5-2 defense, plays with 4 defensive backs, which is the kind of thing that the Tigers have not seen very much of this year.
have to think the Tigers would not want to see a Wishbone team in the Double M championship.
No, that would sort of be mindful of last year, perhaps.
And of course, their tough game against Bunnell this year too, which they had a real tough time once again with the Wishbone.
Right. And this one is just like Bunnell's, as a matter of fact. It's pretty much call play Wishbone rather than the pure triple option Wishbone.
So a great game here this evening. I'd like to thank Bill Attell, our engineer. For Hal Levy, I'm Chris Wallach saying goodnight from Palmer Stadium in Middletown. Once again, the final score, the Hand Tigers 25 and the Xavier Falcons 21.
All right.
Hand Tiger Football is brought to you by a grant from First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Madison, serving the shoreline communities for 50 years. A programming note from Madison Community Television: there will be no hand football game next week. The next hand football game will be the Monday following Thanksgiving.